Hello, hello. Welcome everyone to another Press X episode of the Cold and Culture podcast. Joining me is my co-host RK.
Hey man, how's life going?
It's going pretty well. We're here for another one of these. It's been a bit of a delay.
Yeah, I apologize for that, but we will be on time more going forward because we settled on a much better recording time.
Yep. Well, how you been?
I've been doing well. Just just work has been going well. Writing has been going well. We've been very busy at Lords of Gaming. A lot of content we've been covering lately.
Mm-hmm.
I want to give particular shout out to um, indie developer Knick-Knack Games. They launched their second Kickstarter because their first one failed of their 3D collectathon Radventure. I was given the opportunity to play like an early an early build of the demo that is available now for everybody, and it's basically like a 3D platformer that combines like the streamless open hub of the original Jack and Daxter games with movement you would see from Rayman 2, Rayman 3, Mario 64, and some character design and like tonal elements you would see in the Sonic games. And overall, it's really it was really fun. And and well, if you read my article covering it, the that's just the build I was given access to. The build that is out now that everyone can play for free by downloading it on Steam. It is a streamless world where every level I mentioned in the demo is playable, but you can actually walk to where the areas are on the map, just like in Jack 1 with no loading screens. It is really cool, and looks like the Kickstarter is doing pretty well. So I'm really happy for the team. But there's another thing that's been taking a lot of my time, and it's my boy Sonic with Sonic Unleashed being playable on PC, and there's greater ramifications of that than just RK like Sonic, and he can play one of his favorites on PC now. There's a lot more to the story through how they got it running on PC, but that's kind of it with gaming stuff. To be perfectly honest, hopefully I'll be able to play more stuff as the next couple as March progresses,
Mm-hmm.
and I might be seeing you know how a certain Veil Guard um kind of failed. I tried to be funny, and I failed miserably. Anyway, so what have you been playing?
I have been playing Kingdom Come Deliverance.
Nice.
I
How
have
you
beat
liking it
it.
so far? Oh, you beat. Oh, that's awesome, man.
Yep.
I know you loved the first one.
Yeah. Yeah. This was a generously one of the best RPGs of all time for me.
Oh, wow, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Kicking the year off strong.
Yeah. And we Split Fiction just came out as well as Assassin's Creed coming soon.
Yeah. Speaking of co-op games, we kind of mostly this is my fault. We gotta try to finish It Takes Two at some point, and then maybe we'll play Fiction together.
That's fine. Well, what about you? You play any other games you haven't finished?
Uh, wow. Wow, you already throwing me under the bus. Wow, my co-host. Anyway, honestly, haven't really been playing much of anything outside of the outside of Adventure and the on Sonic Unleashed PC port. But I want to start playing more stuff in March. There's quite a few games in the backlog to go through, and a couple of recent like smaller PC purchases that I got that I want to try, and some demos I want to play. There's a whole lot of stuff I want to do, but time's fun.
Yeah,
Anyway, hopefully I make time for all the gaming.
it's good. Well, I guess that's it for you in terms of
Yeah.
games.
And one of the games I mentioned is a a BioWare project that I might try because I don't have to pay money for it, and it is called Dragon Age: The Veil Guard. I mean Dragon Age: The Veil Guard. And this game by BioWare is it did not do very great because this is the fastest I've seen a AAA release come to PlayStation Plus. Suicide Squad took a full year before that hit PS Plus. This took like 4 months at most.
Suicide Squad's like 6 months, I think.
Suicide Squad 6 months, right?
Yeah.
This is even faster. That is wow, man. But other highlights of the March monthly lineup include a really great collection with the Ninja Turtles that Konami released that has a ton of games from the Game Boy, NES, Genesis, Super Nintendo, and of course the Blue Blur has Sonic Colors Ultimate, be it PS4, the sole PS4 game of the lineup. And while I would personally recommend the PC version, you can play with the Project Rainbow mod, which kind of restores some of the original kind of artistic intent that the Wii version had. I loved my time playing Colors Ultimate on my Series X, and the benefits that you can play on these modern consoles include like high resolutions, like very stable 60 frames per second. It's a really good looking game on the new consoles. And if you got a PS5, you got a PS4, you're gonna have a fun time with it. But of course, my co-host will probably disagree with me, but it is what it is. But what about the other February? What about the other PS Plus games?
Well, for the March games, nothing of interest to me, to be honest here. But then we have some new games to the middle tiers, which is Jedi Survivor, which I love from 2023.
Yes, and just to kind of give some additional kind of support for that game, right now it is in a really good state on both base consoles. I don't know how it is on the Pro, but on base consoles, it's definitely quite a bit better than it was at launch.
Mm-hmm.
So if you want to give the game a shot now is the ideal time.
And then Lost Records, I have no interest. I don't know, a week, month overall for me.
I feel like the big thing is I think the biggest story is a big AAA release like Dragon Age just hitting the service like essentially right away. That is incredibly uncommon with just these big releases, because as we mentioned, usually takes 6 months to a year for these big games, even if they didn't do super great, to hit the service. Like Gotham Knights, Suicide Squad, etc. It took a while for them to hit the service. And even games that were modestly successful or relatively successful, like Sonic Frontiers, it took 2 years for that game to hit PS Plus as part of like the not the essential, the extra tier. It takes a while for these. Even something like Forspoken, that took a while to hit PS Plus. So games that did modestly well or didn't do super great, they hit the service in like over a long stretch of time. Dragon Age hitting it just cements what EA has been just silently saying. The game didn't hit their targets. And what happened with BioWare, with people being laid off, and a smaller team working on Mass Effect now, just makes a lot of sense. So
yeah. Well, that's what we got for PlayStation Plus this week or this month.
Yes.
So let's pivot to a new topic.
Yes, you know, we got to warn a brother about these Warner Brothers. Zing.
Warner Brother Games has shut down Monolith, the Seattle-based studio.
And in addition to Monolith, they also shut down a Warner Brothers support studio and Player First Games. And Player First Games, they literally just acquired not even six or so months ago.
Yeah.
and to make matters worse, people are hoping for seeing like the Nemesis system that was used in the Shadow of Mordor games be used by other developers. That's still under lock and key until 2036. And to even greater disappointment, Wonder Woman wasn't even a project that Monolith, in some of the at least the senior talent that was working on Mordor anyway, wasn't particularly enthused about, because according to reports, they were trying to make a new IP and they didn't get the thumbs up on that. So a lot of those people left, and they eventually formed, and they're now part of the team making the Black Panther game for EA.
So anyways, they worked on an IP.
Yeah. So
I don't know. I heard that people were passionate about the Wonder Woman game inside Monolith.
I think, yeah, like people. The thing is, I'm specifically talking about the people that originally worked on Mordor.
Oh, yeah.
And then they got new talent, and some of the people that stayed were passionate about Wonder Woman. But it seems like
one of the developers said it was gorgeous and expensive.
Yeah, because that makes a lot of sense. They spent a lot of time making that game.
Except it's just the thing when we're on it is they try to do like procedural generation.
So they fell into a similar situation that Starfield kind of fell into.
Oh, they were trying to use the Nemesis system, but the Nemesis system was kind of what caused their downfall in the end.
How would you use the Nemesis system in a Wonder Woman game? Because that's something that I was kind of a little tripped up on. At least with the Mordor games, you're fighting like large armies. Maybe like with Wonder Woman, I think the idea was maybe she's befriending the gods or like higher like deities, because that's something that Wonder Woman does deal with in the comics and other media. You're dealing with like Hades and all these other people. So who knows, man?
I don't know. I just think the Nemesis stone was just unnecessary.
They tried to shoehorn it in something that didn't need it, probably, and that's why.
Yeah. And then when they rebooted, they made it like a more traditional game, but they already spent so much money.
And not to mention, like, the ripple effect of something like Suicide Squad just completely bombing.
They also had to rebuild staff because a lot of their key talent left.
Yeah, just damn shame. Monolith has a lot of history. I didn't play all these games, but they made like Nobody Lives Forever, the Fear franchise. Like they're legends, and seeing a big studio like this just gone in the wind is really, really sad.
Yeah. But in the end, like, if because they didn't get canceled because the game was looking bad, it got canceled because they lost too much money over the years.
It also probably could be the result of just Warner Brothers in general just facing a lot of struggles that they can't afford to stomach the cost of their game division floundering too.
And the game's expectations would have to have been pretty high, I suspect.
Mm-hmm.
To make back.
And unlike Suicide Squad, which released relatively, I don't know how close the second movie was, but it wasn't too far away from the second James Gunn, not second, but the one James Gunn made. It wasn't too far behind that, right?
That one didn't do that successful though.
Oh,
it was during COVID. Maybe
that's right.
Do well during
messed
COVID.
everything up.
Yeah, but I think a developer we might be seeing soon is a TT Games.
Yeah, reports suggest that they're working on a new Lego game.
Makes sense. Suspects I hope they do a DC game.
I think it's probably going to be Harry Potter because of just how big that IP is for Warner Brothers right now. Or the safer option is a Lego Batman.
I mean, when did they release Skywalker Saga?
They made Skywalker Saga in
2021, I want to say, right?
Yeah, I remember.
So that would have been probably in development before Hogwarts.
Yeah, that was a big project. I remember playing that.
No, I'm saying their next game would have started before Hogwarts came out.
That's true.
I don't think they would have been expecting that hit at that time yet.
And plus, the combat system for the Lego Star Wars game, it got more involved, and I could see a lot of those systems be applied to a Batman game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think DC is where my guess would be.
Yeah.
Well, let's move on to some other news. Call of Duty, one of the journalists sat down with a Call of Duty developer behind the infamous skill-based matchmaking system. Talk about the complexities of such a system and how it's kind of been mishandled by Activision a bit, like punishing players for being good, basically.
That is a very strange decision.
It's a profitable decision, is why.
I'm not really. I don't really know too much about Call of Duty multiplayer. The most I played of Call of Duty multiplayer was playing Modern Warfare on the Wii back in the day. The console literally hanging out by my windowsill used to use Wi-Fi just to confirm the matches. So, and obviously the couple of matches we played together, but
Yeah. But yeah, it's kind of interesting because Activision has been so secretive about it over the years.
Well, at least an answer came out that so the community could just go from there.
Oh yeah. Well, now on to a bigger one. I'll let you handle it, Xbox man.
All right, let me open up. Oh yeah, Fable got delayed till 2026, and as stated from Insider Gaming, the Duncan, who is a developer, sorry, the announcement comes via Xbox Studios head Craig Duncan during an episode of the official Xbox podcast. He says, and I quote, "We previously announced Fable as a 2025 game. We are actually going to give Fable more time. It's going to ship in 2026 now. Well, I know that's not maybe the news people want to hear. What I want is to ensure people that it is definitely worth the wait." He also added, I have unequivocal confidence in the Playground team. And basically, from the looks of it, there's a few reasons the game is most likely going to be delayed. One thing I think that is very safe speculation to make, Grand Theft Auto. If anyone knows when that game is dropping, outside of Take-Two, it's Sony and Microsoft because they're big partners for Take-Two.
I 100% bet you they're going to launch Outer Worlds next to GTA.
I think they're probably going to save Outer Worlds for like maybe late August, September.
That's right next to GTA.
GTA is apparently, like from the rumblings, it's October. So
yeah, but if you're going to say September or November,
I mean, there's not much they can really do. But I think pushing Fable to 2026 also leaves room.
Plus, they haven't even did Oblivion yet.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that's right. There's gonna be.
I'd imagine Oblivion is the August game.
Oh, you're right. Yeah, Microsoft.
I don't even know where would they even have room for Fable in December.
They don't. And honestly, it's probably. I think it's probably a better decision to just, instead of releasing it in December and you miss out on the award season, you miss out on more eyes on the game, release it early 2026. And it gives you time to release it alongside a PlayStation 5 version. And while we have our disagreements on if the delay is results, that is part of the reason. I think Playground, even if they could outsource the port to another studio, Microsoft's internal teams are still coming to grips with PS5 hardware. And I imagine a big game like Fable, you want to make sure that thing sings on PlayStation 5, in addition to looking really damn good on your Xbox consoles. But what do you think about that?
My take is they probably should have started this port sooner rather than later.
Yeah, I could agree with that. And I
should have started like in 2023 because they saw where it was going when Starfield released.
Yeah, and that was around
2023. I mean, not 2020.
Yeah, and to add to your point, the Rare, developers of Sea of Thieves had PlayStation 5 development kits I think in 2023 when they were working with what was the developer that did the Sea of Thieves port?
Lucid.
Thank you, my co-host with all the notes. Thank you, Lucid. So you're right. They probably have access to PS5 dev kits, and maybe they just want to just make sure everything is up to snuff for like a February March launch. But
Yeah.
the big question is, do you think it's going to be a day and date release on PlayStation 5, or do you think it's going to be?
Absolutely.
I agree with you. They probably want their full money back. But enough about ports, and let's talk about the game itself, because we actually got we didn't just get a delay announcement and got told, well, please wait. We also got some gameplay footage, and it showed like very Witcher 3-esque combat. It showed impressive looking visuals. Apparently like an updated like look, a slightly updated look, or a more like up to date version of the initial female protagonist, and a couple other things. And I'm gonna be real. I'm not a Fable person, so I dabbled with 2 when I first got my Series X, but I never really played the series before. So, but do you have experience with Fable?
No.
Well, I
I'm
guess
looking
this
at
is
this trailer now. I gotta say, I have this same vibe with Hellblade where they keep refusing to show any gameplay.
there's a difference though, I think.
There is, but with RPGs, you have to compromise usually with visuals for like more choices like Kingdom Come Deliverance or Witcher does. And for me, it
That's
seems like they're going all in on visuals rather than the RPG-ness.
I think the elephant in the room is gonna be, is it gonna be it 1-to-1 like the old Fable games in terms of
Because I don't know, for me, it seems all visuals, no substance.
well, I think it's not gonna be as, I don't think it's gonna be nearly as bad as Hellblade 2.
I don't think so. I don't think. I'm just saying it's just weird how vague they are being with the game.
I think that's less of an Xbox decision and more of like a Playground being very insistent on, when we want to talk about it, we'll talk about it.
Yeah,
And
but like,
I don't really agree with that sentiment, because at this point we should know what the HUD looks, the UI looks like. We should know what's more about what the game overall looks like. I definitely agree about that. But Microsoft PR came out a bunch of times and said, we want to talk about this game. We're really excited about this. But Playground says, let us cook. We'll talk about it when we're ready. And it kind of has the inverse situation of Hellblade 2. Hellblade 2, Microsoft and Ninja Theory they were not shy to talk about the game. They talked about the game a lot during its production. But the problem is, Hellblade 2 was such a short experience that by the time it released, there really wasn't much to talk about. With Fable, I imagine it's because they're being so tight-lipped about it until the inevitable Xbox showcase this summer or sometime later in the year. We will be getting it. I think Microsoft wants to have a tighter leash in terms of when they talk about the game, because I think with Fable. Sorry if this is a bit rambly, but they want to have a multi-platform day one launch of a big pillar franchise, and not be marred with nonsense. Like, let's look at Indiana Jones. Like, that launch, and it got great reviews, and the award shows that happened earlier this year acknowledged the game, right? But because you released, but when you kind of gave the big reveal about, oh, we have the date for this game is so and so, but we got one more thing. The PlayStation release is spring 2025. And that was the headline. Like, despite the fact of preview coverage from Lords of Gaming and other outlets who talked about the game and what it did right and what exciting things it had to offer. What was the thing everyone wanted to know about or want to talk about? It's coming to PlayStation. It's coming to PlayStation. So with Fable, I feel like and combined with Xbox's recent comments, basically telling everybody more of our stuff is going to PlayStation and Switch. Be ready. They want to have they don't want to deal with that narrative again. When they talk about a game, they don't want the hubbub being drama and this thing we've been working on for years. The big talking point, it's coming to other places. They want the game itself to, speak for itself. So I guess we'll see what happens in June because I think that's the next time we're going to hear an update on Fable. If we don't hear an update in June, then I'm going to start being a little bit concerned because by that point, what that tells me is the game is probably going to be like a later 2026 release, and that's a bit much at this point.
It really is. Well, let's talk about a different team. Quantic Dreams, the infamous vaporware dev.
Oh, yes.
Star Wars Eclipse remains unaffected by NetEase restructuring.
I'm surprised. Disney's probably like, what do you mean you're shutting down a studio? What do you mean you're giving them less fun? No, this is a Star Wars project. It's coming out the door. Work on it. That's the only reason I think that's probably why this is still kind of happening. Disney just refusing to have it die.
So this was announced in 2021.
Another game where they announced things too early.
Even at the time, Jason Schreier said this game's not coming out before 2028. I called it immediately when I saw this is vaporware.
Yep.
Quantic Dreams just cannot get their things together.
No.
Well, this will make my co-host very happy. Activision has been forced to admit it uses AI to generate assets in Call of Duty.
I think that's good that they are forced to admit that because people need to know when something is made with AI and something is handcrafted because we're at a point where that's kind of hard to tell in some cases. And when you're selling microtransactions and all this other stuff, you got to let your audience know, hey, this is what our development team is working on. Hey, this is what AI specifically is working on. Hey, this is what our development team using AI tools. You got to be honest about AI. At a certain point, it's going to be everywhere. But it's not. We're not at that point yet. So you got to just be honest and upfront about how you're using a tool. As much as I'm not a big fan of AI generated art and stuff, it's out there and you got to acknowledge it. So this is a good step towards, hey, we got these tools, we're using these tools, using these assets, we made using these tools. Here's what we're doing. So it gives us, you know what, and I imagine Call of Duty players who spend tons of money on skins and all this other and season passes and all this other stuff would like to know this information too. So it's the right thing being done, even if the real reason is Activision's hand is being twisted right now.
Yep, transparency is good.
And this is all you, Assassin's Creed Shadows.
Assassin's Creed Shadows has been leaked as early copies are in the wild. 5 copies were sold on eBay. And if there are 5 out, there are many more out.
Absolutely. That's what happens with that's the one negative about physical media for these publishers, where if it's out there, good luck. You can't shut people up.
As one could say, digital is king.
I don't completely agree with that. I'm just saying this is just one negative of physical media, but to be blunt, Ubisoft's games, they're not even on the disc. It is just a license.
Yeah, but they still get access to patches.
Yes, but
people are playing getting patches in real time right now.
Hey, you know what? looking forward to hearing those comments closer to reviews.
People have been pretty positive on it. Like people have been playing it.
Nice. What do you make of all that?
Well, first we have a statement from Ubisoft. The development team is still working on patches to prepare for the experience for launch, and any footage shown online does not represent the final quality of the game.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, but yeah, honestly, I mean, kind of it sucks for Ubisoft. Like they cannot get a break at all with this game, but the game looks great from what I've seen. They just released a new 20-minute gameplay dive this week.
Nice. Anything that specifically stood out?
For me, not really. It just kind of, the more minute details of the game have been coming out more and more.
Nice.
But yeah, we're getting closer and closer to March 20th.
As this recording, it's March 8th already. Time is going way too quick, man.
Ubisoft is confident, and then the pre-orders are live with some of the previous games.
Nice. From everything I've seen of Shadows and how you've been describing the game, it looks like a major step up for the series, and I hope it's successful.
Yeah, they have said that side quests will feature flashbacks for our characters as well. And the game should be adapted to the playstyle you play as.
That is very important since Yosuke and Naoe. Did I pronounce that correct?
Yeah, Yosuke.
Yosuke and Naote. Is that better? Anyway, their play styles are very different from each other, so the game dynamically reacting to what players predominantly prefer to play as is really critical in this situation, because like you have the like, of course everything comes back to Sonic. What, like, there's an example, like,
oh boy,
like I recently mentioned Sonic Unleashed. You have two very different gameplay styles. You have Sonic running super fast, and you have Sonic turning into a werewolf, being the crap out of things. One is the gameplay for both is incredibly different, so you have to make different levels. But in that type of game, you're making like levels, so it's like that's a little easier to manage. With an open world game like Assassin's Creed, with missions taking place in the open world, you gotta adjust, the stealth approach versus like the tank heavy-esque combat. So it's really good to hear that they have a good balance on both.
Yep. Now let's move on. More AI news.
Oh yes. Oh yes. So this is in relation to well, they're not really friends. They're just green people. Microsoft. They have an AI training model, and it's being used to generate ideas. Ideas. Oh my god, I said that completely wrong. Ideas. I can't. And originally they started training it with Bleeding Edge, and now they're doing it with a catalog of games. And first of all, Microsoft is one of the biggest people pushing for AI, not just in gaming, but in like the search stuff and all and the co-pilot programs on PC. So them being the console makers to go full steam ahead with this AI nonsense makes a lot of sense. And some comments suggest that, we're going to try to use this for backup hat, and I don't know. We'll see we'll see what happens. My issue with AI always stems from you taking jobs from people, and normally part of me would be like, well, then people gotta adjust to different environments, because as humans we gotta be dynamic about things, because things could change on a dime. But the problem with the problem in the gaming industry is, as we've discussed multiple times in like the 7 something episodes we've had so far, and you probably heard tons of other places, thousands of people are being laid off basically every month. And as a writer who covers stuff in the gaming industry, I'm personally sick of writing that stuff because I don't like seeing people lose their jobs just because people got too greedy during the COVID pandemic, or they overhired, or one project was mismanaged and the whole team has to suffer instead of like the two people up top making the decisions. So AI is just going to be a faster shortcut for these companies like Microsoft and PlayStation, like the Microsofts, the Sonys, the EAs, the Take-Twos, and all these big AAA developers. If they can get AI, and we just mentioned Call of Duty a few minutes ago. If you can get two people and an AI to work on something, you don't need a team of 5 to 10 people to make assets for content that you're gonna pump out on your DLC stores. Or you're not gonna need or you could just have one person and like an AI helping out with some coding stuff instead of like a team of 5 people. That's eating jobs, and for an industry it's carelessly laying people off. That it's also telling people who are genuinely kind of curious about the gaming industry, don't bother because you're not going to have a place. You're going to be laid off in like a couple of months, and that's a really sad message to tell somebody. But as someone who actively is interested in the gaming industry and developing and everything, you're probably more knowledgeable about this than I am. What do you think?
I am seeing another side of the fence on this one.
All right, explain.
Okay, look. Even without AI, we would have eventually come up to this situation. Like, for example, car manufacturing. They found ways to speed it up with machines.
Mm-hmm.
People lost their jobs. We're in an inevitable situation where technology improves, game development gets more simplified. And I don't think I'm against AI generate slop, for example, but I think tools that can speed up the game development process are necessary. Like, I know Unreal has a thing where it can build you a city template.
That is really cool.
Like, I think AI has its place as a tool set. I think it should be explored, but you just got to be careful in the way you explore it.
Do you think the indie space, I see people being careful with it, using it, as you mentioned, as a tool. Do you think AAA developers and AAA publishers will have a team approach, or they're just going to look at this as less dollar signs they have to worry about?
No, you just look at a case-by-case basis. Well, like if you look at Activision, they're not using AI to generate the campaign. They're just using it for some skins to sell. But like, it's a slippery slope.
Okay. Thank you for having a more nuanced and less it's bad approach about the whole thing.
I don't know, I think there's ways it can speed up processes. And like, for example, for me, I can't draw for crap, but if I can translate to my team of the idea I want it to be through AI, I think it's a good tool.
Right on, man. And again, thank you for kind of having a more nuanced answer to all of this.
Yeah.
That's like what? This is professional podcasting, right?
Well, I think that's enough for some AI today.
Yes.
Spider-Man 3.
Yes.
Peter is not gone, shockingly.
No. And if anyone, spoilers for Spider-Man 2, if you haven't played it yet, it's been out for a while on PS5, and it's just been out on PC a few months. All right, spoiler warning over. Peter still has the anti-venom suit, and
the thing was because Peter said he was going to step back at the end of Spider-Man 2. And so people thought he would be leaving forever, basically.
I highly doubt that because, like I mentioned, he has the anti-venom suit, and I fully expect that's going to be he's going to modify it, and that's going to kind of result in new gameplay mechanics for when he's playable, because the suggestion at the end of Spider-Man 2 is you're going to have Peter, you're going to have Miles, and you're going to have Silk as playable characters, with potentially Venom, with he's not locked to just that spinoff.
Yeah.
But we're not going to see anything from Insomniac until Venom releases potentially next year.
I have heard some things.
Ooh, what have you heard?
I have heard that Wolverine was originally going to be a 2025 game for the Hex.
The delay set them back a full year, right?
Yeah, the Hex, they set them back. They kind of had to change it. They've been kind of in a bit of a development struggle.
I'm not surprised because
It
so
makes sense
much.
the 2025 release.
Yeah,
Before pre-Hex.
yeah, because they have to change so much now because people know the general kind of. I've been in the talk about a lot of the leaks out of respect for
Yeah, with the script leaks.
I can't. Again, I will reiterate my frustration whenever people kind of use that to weaponize anti-PlayStation nonsense when Insomniac is known for making great games. And even if people personally felt Spider-Man 2 was lackluster in some story elements and the final stretch of the game, it doesn't change the fact that Insomniac done a lot of heavy lifting during the throughout this PS5 generation, while PlayStation's other studios gradually picked up the slack, while Insomniac is busy cooking. And that's like ignoring that long, amazing history of almost yearly releases on, of course, PS1, PS2, PS3. I love them as a developer, and I have full confidence in whatever they're doing for Wolverine, Venom, and Spider-Man 3.
Yep. Now let's talk about Avowed. It was a multiplayer Skyrim originally.
Yes, and I've of course you're gonna say something because, oh yeah, did you beat it? Did you beat it, Rob? No, I have not.
Did you
But
start it?
I did start it though. I did start.
Ah.
Yes, I did start it. Surprisingly enough, and I played not a ton, but a decent bit across Xbox and PC, and I like what I played. The combat's really cool, and the story stuff that I've experienced so far is great, and it looks beautiful. Honestly, I got to the campsite during nighttime, and I'm like, oh my god, this looks stunning, and and the whole idea about multiplayer, I could see multiplayer being a good fit for this because of the combat system. The combat system is really cool, and having like a team of like, even if it was just limited to just a 2-player co-op to be more manageable for Obsidian, that would have been really cool. But they obviously retooled because they want to make something they're comfortable with. And I think what I played so far is a good product. And but what do you think about this?
I think it would have been better as a multiplayer game.
I think the reason why they didn't make it multiplayer was, well, Grounded was like an experimental thing that they could have kind of got away with doing multiplayer. If they did a high fantasy multiplayer game with RPG elements, people would have been really pissed off, and that's why they backed off.
I don't know. I just think a lot of the elements that make Obsidian games are missing because of the multiplayer roots.
Yeah, even so much as like during like the Defining Duke interview with one of the director, she made the comment like, we still have lines of code that reference the old multiplayer roots.
And I haven't played the game, but what I've seen is the writing is the weakest aspects of this game. So making it single player, you haven't really gained much.
Also, about kind of released in a bad spot, so because Kingdom Come Deliverance released very close to it.
I'd argue though people would still been disappointed because no one's comparing it to Kingdom Come. They're comparing it to New Vegas and Outer Worlds.
Yeah, I'm not much of an Obsidian person, so I'm not really the person to talk to here.
Yeah.
But
notice it's a good game. It's just not living up to their standards.
But do you think like they could theoretically make a multiplayer expansion?
I think that's over.
You think they're not going to do DLC?
I think they'll do an expansion, just not a multiplayer one.
Maybe they might consider doing some type of multiplayer thing for a sequel, because I think they might want to make Avowed like a, at least give it another shot with a
I think they'll make a sequel, but I don't know if it has a multiplayer future in store.
I guess we'll see what they do with Avowed.
But we'll see the 18 back later this year with Outer Worlds 2. I think you'll get a lot more satisfaction from that game.
Yeah. But something that isn't satisfying is video game hardware sales. And great transition. Why not? Your face is telling me, of course he said that. Anyway, in January 2025, video game hardware sales fell 45% year over year in the US. And
it's not really a shocker to me because I'd argue 2024 was kind of a weak year for Western gaming.
For Western gaming, Japanese gaming, it was really, really, really damn good.
Japanese gaming was good, but they're not the console sellers.
Yeah, you're grinning over there, but yeah, this is
no one's buying a PS5 for Metaphor. Let's be honest.
You know, people. You know what? In my heart, I firmly believe people are buying Xbox Series S's and PlayStation 5s to access the peak that is Sonic X Shadow Generations. I firmly believe that.
We all have our delusions.
Let me live mine, damn it.
Well, but in positive news, PlayStation 5 has sold over 75 million units.
Yeah, because it's a default console for a lot of people. People see a PlayStation, they go, "Oh, that's a video game box." Because
what did PS4 sell? 100 million units?
I think so, yeah.
And we're getting pretty close, and we're not in the end of generation yet. So they could pretty much outsell the PS4, I think.
And that's not counting the big system seller that is on the horizon, GTA 6.
Yeah, I argue this year you have a lot of good games that will get people interested.
And more games are not they're being developed in mind solely for PS5, Series X, Series S, potentially Switch 2. A recent example that just came out, Split Fiction, no last gen version. That's another and you would think a game like that would have a last gen version, but it does not. So, or does it? I'm not sure.
Well, another Sony-related story. Sony is being sued for artificially high prices on the store.
This is something that can be applied to the Xbox store and the eShop as well, not just PlayStation, because guess what? There's a very big difference between the digital storefronts on consoles and the digital storefronts on PC. At PC, you have a bunch of different stores, and you have these interesting things called key selling websites, and they're very competitive. So there's genuine competition in the PC space, but there's not really that level of competition on the PlayStation, Xbox, and Nintendo digital stores, because it's just the Microsoft store, the PlayStation store, and the Nintendo eShop store.
Reading this article, it says when you buy a digital game or in-game content, Sony ensures that this can only be done via its own PlayStation store. Sony keeps the market for itself in this way and can keep the prices artificially high. As a result, you pay more without getting anything extra.
Again, the same kind of applies to the Microsoft and the Nintendo ones too. So if you're gonna kind of be mad at PlayStation, be mad at Microsoft, and be mad at Nintendo too, because same situation there. That's why when I heard about this initially, I was just kind of rolled my eyes because, yeah, duh. That's the drawback. That's a drawback of buying stuff on a console versus PC, where you have more options to work with.
This lawsuit's not going to go anywhere, though.
No, it's not going to go anywhere at all.
I imagine there is a fine print in the user agreement.
Oh yeah, absolutely. PlayStation cover themselves. They're good.
Skate has been revealed. The remakes of 3+4.
Skate? You mean Tony Hawk's?
Oh, not Skate. I'm sorry.
Okay, I'm professional podcasting here. I'll take the reins of this, buddy. Anyway, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3 and 4 was revealed after presumably being on the developmental hell / developmental pause because Activision had Vicarious Visions get absorbed into Blizzard, unfortunately. What ended up happening was development on a 3 and 4 remake was put on hold and just did not happen until Tony Hawk and probably Microsoft knocked on Activision's door and said, "Hey, let's do this again." And they got Iron Galaxy to headline this remastered project, and this you get all the maps from the original 3 and 4 game, a lot of the skaters, a lot of the music, and the progression system is going to be pretty similar to 1 and 2 remake from the looks of it. And that's a bit of a disappointment for some people because the career mode in 4 was very different. It was more open, the timer was gone, you could talk to NPCs, you have more options. But the progression system is going to be the same across the maps in 3 and 4, which means you have a 2-minute timer and you have to collect all the skate letters, the VHS tapes, perform a cassette combo and all this other stuff. And while people are annoyed at this, I'm of the mindset that, well, this is probably a project that literally just picked up development where Vicarious Visions left off. So this is something that isn't, I'm not saying it doesn't look high quality. It looks awesome. It looks awesome, but the cynic in me firmly believes Iron Galaxy was tasked with finishing a project that basically was put on ice. It was half finished or most of the way finished, and they're just doing what they can to kind of make everything kind of come together. And that's why the 4 remake is just what is essentially sounds like a content pack for Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3. And for fans of the series, I can be incredibly empathetic to you guys because that sucks. Because you have an opportunity to see the building blocks being set for a potential Tony Hawk Underground collection or a American Wasteland remake. But the reality is this probably was a project that Activision didn't even want to do. And it's only happening because Tony Hawk and Microsoft made the initiative. Activision said, fine. And they got Iron Galaxy to finish off what Vicarious Visions started. Yeah. And I apologize if this sounds very negative and cynical coming from me. But when it comes to Activision specifically, if it's not Call of Duty, they genuinely do not care. Because Call of Duty is the only thing that gets them the money they want, despite the fact that they have Crash games that are genuinely great. They have Spyro games that are genuinely great, and the Tony Hawk remake was really fucking good. Sorry for the language. The end result is, but those don't make the Call of Duty numbers, so they want everyone on Call of Duty. And despite myself and others believing being under Microsoft would change anything, nothing's changed.
Shocker.
So, exactly. Shocker. So I'm of the belief of let's just
game franchise that cost $500 million to make. A year.
So I'm of the mindset that just be grateful we're getting this at all, and let's just enjoy shredding.
I'm disappointed they basically removed free roam.
Yeah.
They changed the career mode.
I'm just grateful that we get to play as Doomslayer, shred as Doomslayer, while potentially we have a remix of the EDM.
I argue this is the first demake ever to exist.
Demake?
Yeah, because they basically changed the game completely to be on par with the older games.
Well, I guess
they dumbed it down essentially.
They dumbed a portion of it down because the other one.
Demake.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So I guess let's correct that. Let's correct ourselves here. Beginning a remake of Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3 and a demake of Tony Hawk Pro Skater 4. Does that sound better?
Yes.
All right. I didn't know a demake could look really great visually, but here we are. But my good friend, Lord Rockstar, this one is all you.
GTA 5 is getting PS5, the PS5 next-gen patches we got a few years ago to PC now. They hate PC so much, they finally brought the next-gen console upgrades to PC years later.
Yeah.
Some inside info. I hear this is a test run for the eventual GTA 6 PC port. Testing PC features that will be in that port.
Oh, so they're using the same engine for GTA 6?
No, they have a more advanced engine, but like they're testing features that will be used on PC.
Oh, so they're getting the tool sets and everything established.
How PC features, you have AMD and NVIDIA.
Yeah, that's right. And also you have Intel now too.
I think they have like this advanced ray tracing mode called global illumination.
Yep.
So yeah, they're like just testing everything, use it as a test bed.
Yeah, it's good. And PC players won't be able to play GTA 6 until 2026/2027.
Cyberpunk 2077.
Cyberpunk. Oh, whoa! Oh, wow! Way to let your real feelings come out there, huh?
Launch, I would call Cybersunk.
Oh man, it was Cybersunk 2076 when it came out on PS4 and Xbox One, buddy. But that's way back when.
Cyberpunk 2077 sequel.
Yes.
Project Orion is working on the most realistic and reactive crowd system.
I'm just gonna repeat what you literally put in the notes. Maybe don't overpromise again. LOL.
Yes.
Because I think that's the main thing CD Projekt Red needs to just make the damn game and just don't talk too much about it unless you have something substantial to show us that can be done in the console version of the game, because we know damn well they're not going to do the approach way back when in the early mid-2000s where if it can't run on console, it's just PC at launch. They're going to make it come out on console no matter what. So please just don't make it run like ass on console again and make people buy.
I imagine it's a PS6 exclusive.
They can't do PC exclusive. They won't make the money they want from
PS6 exclusive.
A PS.
I doubt that. Will be cross-gen.
I think there's gonna be another Xbox console, but it's gonna probably just be more the platform. But we'll see what happens.
Skip Xbox, it has 10 million consoles. In 2035, Xbox console will be more useless than
it's not useless. You can take your Series X right now, and it's heavy enough.
No, I'm saying in 2035, how many Xboxes will there even be out there?
There's to be real though, Xbox is probably what their next console is probably gonna be what the Valve wanted the Steam machine to be when they made that. It's just gonna be a box with the Xbox branding, and they get a compatibility layer that you can use your Xbox console library in the PC format, and that's probably the future for Xbox. I don't think we're gonna be getting another
Hey, what if the Xbox just says, how some PC says you don't have the hardware to play this game?
Yeah.
What if the Cyberpunk 2 says for Xbox players you don't have the power to play this game?
You're messy, bro. Jesus Christ.
Well, if it's a PC, it would just say hardware incompatible.
You don't do that. We're gonna move on. Anyway, Last of Us.
If the next console is a PC, it's what I'm saying.
They can't. I don't think you really think they're gonna imagine they do that with their first party games. That would be awful. Oh God. Anyway, let's move on to a more positive topic. I think. Last of Us Season 2 has a release date and episode count revealed. And give me a second to open it up. Okay. So The Last of Us Season 2 will be released on April 13th, 2025 on Max, not HBO Max, Max, because they're stupid. Anyway, it will consist of 7 episodes, and according and taken from the Insider Gaming article that we are using as a source. According to a report by Variety, HBO announced Last of Us Season 2's release date and episode count the other day. The upcoming season will consist of 7 episodes adapting the story of the second game from Naughty Dog series. It was revealed in a report earlier this month that each episode packs quite a wallop, and it's likely that the story will extend past a season 3. And a wallop, more like a golf swing, zing. Anyway, bad jokes aside on my part.
As well, the trailer has come out today.
Yes, I did not see that. Did you see it, good sir?
It did. And it appears to be they're indeed splitting the second game into 2 seasons.
That makes a lot of sense considering you have 2 playable characters.
Yeah, I imagine they're leaving Abby for the other season.
Yeah, and they're probably awaiting, we're going to get a lot of numbers in Season 1 and Season 2, and then if Season 3 doesn't get the numbers we want, that is okay, because we'll have Ellie come back.
As well...
Yes.
Marvel Rivals. It's 40 million players.
Yes, and that is... I would say that is great. But the more somber news is Marvel Rivals developers get laid off as NetEase guts the Western branch of...
To be clear, the Western branch was like 20 devs. Not that it doesn't suck, but it wasn't the majority of the team. Western devs are expensive.
I get that, but when you...
And we don't know... Not to be evil here, but if you're going to look at it from the business aspect, the game is done. You just support it.
I'll just read NetEase's comment before I give my 2 cents in, so we have equilibrium.
Mm-hmm.
NetEase's official statement on the Marvel Rivals layoffs in Seattle say the following. We recently made the difficult decision to adjust Marvel Rivals' development team structure for organizational reasons and to optimize development efficiency for the game. This resulted in a reduction of a design team based in Seattle that is a part of a larger global design function in support of Marvel Rivals. We appreciate the hard work and dedication of those affected and will be treating them confidentiality, hopefully I said that right, and respectfully with recognition for their individual contributions. We want to reassure our fan base that the core development team for Marvel Rivals, which continues to be led by lead producer Lee Kong-woo and game director I'm not even going to butcher these names because that'll be incredibly disrespectful to the development team. Anyway.
Just do the New York accent excuse.
No. No. I'll try it. All right. Gong Yuan Chen, and I'm so sorry. And oh my God, Gangazu China. This is embarrassing. Remains fully committed to delivering an exceptional experience. We are investing more, not less, into the evolution and growth of this game. We are excited to deliver new superhero characters, maps, features, and content to ensure an engaging live service experience for our worldwide player base. And aside from my horrible butchering of the talented development teams' names and locations in China, I'm of multiple perspectives on this whole thing. On one hand, I get what you're talking about, T-Hawk, with the whole situation with they want to save money and the work is done, so we're just not going to deal with paying for the Western branch when our Chinese branch, which we don't have, which would we pay substantially less, will do the brunt work. And you know what? Okay, I get the business reason. But on the other hand, you have a talented team of people that genuinely helped make some of the building blocks and had a ton of passion for for legendary characters, for a game that is neck to neck with big players in the free-to-play space like Fortnite, Minecraft, Apex, and Call of Duty, and the Hoyoverse stuff as well. And excuse me, and you know how hard it is to accomplish that? You know how difficult it is for to get a successful live service title? Sony would love to get. Sony knows. Just look at all the people that look at Firewalk Studios and Concord, the game that unalived itself before our very eyes. Look at Warner Brothers, who tried releasing a $70 live service experience with Suicide Squad, and it failing miserably. Look at Square Enix making a pseudo live service mobile game with Marvel's Avengers, and that being such a failure that they had to sell off their Western branch. And look at PlayStation, as again with their live service projects, almost all of them being gone with the wind. You're in a situation where live service is a gamble that people have to make, and it's a gamble that has been failed time and time and time again. So when you have a success like Marvel Rivals, everyone involved that helped make it a success, I personally think you do whatever you damn well can to keep those people in the same building with you so they can continue making more successes. Even if you don't want them working on Marvel Rivals, you could have got them spinning their gears on another potential live service project. Because guess what? Under NetEase, there's a lot of IP they can do. But the reality is, NetEase they want to save money. To the point where they almost canceled Marvel Rivals because they was like, we don't want to pay the licensing fee for Marvel. Hey, you know how expensive it was for PlayStation to get the rights to Spider-Man and X-Men? It's a lot of money. We found a lot of information on thanks to that Insomniac leak. Just the Marvel bag is really good if your game is a success, but if your game isn't a success, you're in a situation where you're kind of cursed with losing talent, or the studio gets shut down. Every single example, even games that were genuinely great, like Guardians of the Galaxy or Midnight Suns, you had people, either they left the studio that worked on the project, or one moment.
And our main arcade has gone dark. As I was saying with Marvel Rivals, it's a sad state of affairs, but corporations are going to cooperate, especially in a hard time to be in the industry at this moment. And I'm sure all they have to do is just release new maps and skins now. So they have the template. They have everything ready. They just keep going.
I apologize for that interruption, and hopefully you did not mind my phone ringing. But as my friend has said right now, I don't like to agree with him about this type of thing, but he's right. The content now it's just making content now, and it's just a shame we keep losing talented people that love making games, and I just wish that just stops, but it's gonna keep happening, unfortunately.
Yeah, that's the business realities. They have it all done. They have the content, they have the roadmap, they have the formula. And those Marvel licenses are very expensive, I imagine.
Yeah, but but guys, speaking of China-based development teams, question mark, we have Palworld, which has
China. I thought they were Japan-based.
Japan. Thank you for correcting me. I apologize.
Racist.
You take
Are they all the same to you, RK?
No,
I'm
I
so
mean,
clipping this for the shorts.
oh, I know, I know, I know. I, Lord Sonic is not racist. I promise. Anyway, Power World has surpassed 32 million players in its first year on market, and that is very impressive. Excuse me. That is very impressive. And this is completely ignoring the fact that the game is not on Switch, but we know why it's not on Switch. Nintendo is not a big fan of them right now. But any comments you want to make outside of me being stupid for a moment?
Glad for them. They're making the millions. Kind of forgot this game still existed, to be honest.
I remember the game existed, but the only thing I kind of remember is because of the recent legal issues that the development team is dealing with, they literally removed the ability to throw the PAL sphere. So you can't. That removes a layer of strategy to the proceedings, and it's all because Nintendo they're bullying them. But whatever, it is what it is.
Kingdom Come.
Yes.
Deliverance 2 has sold 2 million units in 2 weeks.
Yeah, you goaty for 2025.
At the moment, until some other games come out.
Oh yes.
But we have this statement from the Embracer CEO. The success of Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 is a reminder of our core. To bring great products to market, we need high quality teams need to have the resources and time to execute their vision. In other news, Captain Obvious.
Sega recently made similar comments where they're investing more resources in team to the Yakuza / Like a Dragon development.
So let's do some calculations here.
All right.
So we have, let's say they cost 40 million to make. The studio budget was 40 million for this game.
Yes.
And let's say there's $60 a pop. Million copies. That's roughly 120 million in profit.
So they made that budget back?
They made their budget triple.
Damn. So Kingdom Come Deliverance 3, if that ever happens.
That's gonna happen.
But like
the creator or founder and creator has suggested he wants to do some other things as well.
But like I was alluding to, this is a common sentiment from people who budget things accordingly and just making great success. Sega's doing it right now with.
You can budget accordingly because basically, what is it like? What it costs like 300 million in Czech currency. But that money would be like $200,000 in US. Like it's just super cheap because of the currency difference.
So that's what really helped them in the end, I guess.
Yeah, the location.
But yeah, it's good to hear stories like this where a good.
Because I would imagine. I imagine that Embracer they're giving American money to a Czech company. That American money is worth more than the Czech money.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that was excellent.
I know you love this game, so I'm really happy that it's a success. You gotta get my man.
Oh yeah. If GTA didn't come out this year, I think it would have won GOTY. Okay, Rainbow Six Siege will be around for another 2 years with a kind of transition. Rainbow Six Siege X, a new era of Siege.
It is a successful live service for Ubisoft, so it makes sense that they're continuing it.
Yeah.
Especially since they shut down like X-Defiant relatively recently.
Yeah, giving it a new life is smart.
Yes, and this is another smart decision is being upfront about where your games are releasing. as future Xbox showcases and events will be highlighting if a game is multi-platform day one. And we started seeing that last showcase, but now we're gonna start seeing that more now.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, if we see Fable, I firmly expect to see a PlayStation 5 logo.
Of course. Well, let's move on. Why Bungie's Marathon was at the State of Play. It's gonna have its own event.
Do you think it's gonna be successful?
I think it has a shot. I think it has a pretty excellent shot. I think if the $40 price point is true, I think that it'll be fine.
And hopefully it pops with like Helldivers, because
It's for Bungie. All that's gonna matter is that it gets the zeitgeist and then it has gameplay, excellent gameplay, which they usually do have great gameplay. So
I think a big issue for Bungie is there never really was a good jumping on point for Destiny 2.
Yeah.
I think that's what the big issue is because I tried playing Destiny 2 a number of times, and it's a game that the gameplay is genuinely really freaking good. The problem is if you want to get invested in the story, you don't really know where to jump in.
Yeah.
Like people say, oh, you try Witch Queen, oh, you try the Lightfall, no, last
Lightfall was after Witch Queen.
the one that was before Witch Queen, I think.
I don't know.
I don't know, but regardless, like people always say, Witch Queen is the one you start that is really good, but like you have a whole campaign of Destiny 2 lost to time.
Yeah.
That I vividly remember I rented either I downloaded the trial, I rented the game from like the Redbox or something, and I played like a single player like Halo-esque mission, and I can never touch that content ever again because it got vaulted. The benefit of Marathon is going to be it's a clean slate, and I feel like hopefully if they do another Destiny, they do that with that as well. Because the gameplay for Destiny is not the problem.
I think they got a unique game here because it's still a genre that's developing.
Mm-hmm.
It's not popularized quite yet. So I think they have a real shot.
But speaking of
it's just execution, that's all that matters.
Absolutely. And speaking of excellent execution, we have Astrobot with 5 new levels that are free that you can download right now. And PlayStation has plans to release more family-friendly games in the future. And as Lord Sonic and lover of platformers, this warms my heart. As someone who grew up with Ratchet, grew up with Sly, grew up with Jack, we're probably not seeing those franchises save for Ratchet again in the future. But PlayStation, you've seen the light. Please make more Astrobots. That's all I ask. I'll buy Astrobot 2 in a heartbeat.
Yeah, the only game you'll finish.
You know what? At least I finished. I finished a play. You know what? If it's not a Team Asobi project or an Insomniac game, I guess I don't finish PlayStation first party stuff. Hopefully that changes in the future. But
yeah.
But
man skips masterpieces. Sad.
Did you try the new levels though?
No, I have no really interest in going back.
I didn't try them yet, but I saw one of the special bots was Jade from Beyond Good and Evil, and I'm like, oh, that's so cool.
Oh. Well, in other news, Control 2 has entered full production.
Shout out Sam Lake. Good man.
Yeah. Makes sense. We're about to get Alan Wake Remake 1 and 2, so I'm sure that's going to release in 2026.
Alan Wake or you?
Oh, not Alan Wake, Max Payne.
Okay, yeah, Max Payne, yeah. What, you think they're releasing together or it's going to be separate releases?
It's going to be one package, the remakes.
Okay, that's cool.
And then we have Alan Wake 2 has sold 2 million copies and is finally profitable.
God bless.
Finally. And then you got any other insight on Remedy?
I don't have too much to comment on Remedy outside of I'm really glad that they got success. They got profit because it's their single play studio and we need more of them out there. But speaking of multiplayer, transition from single player to multiplayer, this is news. This is news to me. So maybe you can kind of go into this. EA almost owned Call of Duty and Blizzard.
Yeah. They had some pretty Activision says they went through some rough patches. Well, they bought they bought this company that was in Manchester that did driving game for Xbox. But the studio didn't pan out for them. And then
Bizarre Creations?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, I think they made the Project Gotham games, if I remember correctly.
So Codex says they tried to buy us a bunch of times. We had merger conversations a bunch of times.
That would have been crazy, dude. Like, imagine, EA. Imagine when you get Medal of Honor next year, Battlefield next year, Call of Duty. Or, that is crazy to think about EA. Because keep in mind, Activision is, one of the big third-party publishers. You combine that with EA, forget about it, man. Oh, my God.
Speaking of, he says, in Codex works, Riccatello was the worst CEO in video games.
Oh, man. It's brutal.
And that's from Bobby Kotick. It's crazy.
Good old Bobby with those devil horns proudly on display.
Speaking of, did you hear Bobby Kotick said he had ideas for Xbox hardware before they got rid of him?
I'm not surprised that I'm not too surprised to hear that, considering
some people want to continue hardware.
Yeah, some people do, but the people in charge of the Xbox division right now, their hands are tied, and they got to listen to good old Satya footing the bill.
Hideo Kojima is sharing new Death Stranding details actually tomorrow.
Ooh. So as a Death Stranding, someone who likes Death Stranding, can't talk. As someone who likes Death Stranding, what do you think?
I think we'll get a release date and a new trailer.
Makes sense. It's one of the big PlayStation games this year.
It has to be announced. I would assume it's a summer release.
I could see that.
And then we learned why the Order 1886 didn't get a sequel as planned.
Let me look at this.
It was the critical reception is why.
Also, I think there was rumblings that they were also working on a Daxter sequel. I think too. They were going to make another Daxter game. I think for PSP at some point, but they didn't move ahead with that when Naughty Dog wanted to make their own track game for PSP, and that did not happen. So we got The Lost Frontier, and we don't talk about that. But the Order 1886, I have a physical copy of. I never played it, but shocker, I know. But it looks really cool, and I loved Ready at Dawn's work on PSP. They made some of the best God of War games. I loved their work on Ghost of Sparta, and it was awesome. And
let us know when you play the real God of War games.
I played. What do you mean? I played the old God. I played
the real ones.
I played God of War. But we're not doing this. I played God of War 1. I played through God of War 1, God of War 2, Ghost of Sparta.
Yeah, you played the good old games, but we're talking about the great ones.
Those are great games. Why
can't
both be great? They're both, and I played God of War 3, one of the most visually impressive.
The new ones are just too mature for you, I guess.
You know what? This is agree to disagree.
All right. Take-Two CEO talks GTA 6 not coming to PC at launch.
Let's see.
When you have a big title in the market, and we have many of them coming, historically, that has sold consoles. While also mentioning it's not always the case to not release on all platforms at once, he pointed out Civilization 7 as an example of a full platform release that includes PC and Switch.
Well, Rockstar knows, they got the data. They know what they're doing.
Yeah.
So
it sells consoles, and he knows. He knows the importance it does for console market.
Yeah, Microsoft just, that's what happens. They just wave the white flag and they just change their approach. And
let's talk about DC.
Oh yes.
DCU bosses have discussed new games with Rocksteady in NetherRealm.
And I personally think like it's kind of, I don't know, like for me, because I'm looking at this right now, and I get what James Gunn is trying to do here, but tying or linking your game, linking up having to tell your movie audience, hey, if you want to get an idea what's going on with,
but the DCU will operate differently than the MCU.
Okay, hopefully that it really is the case.
Projects will have connections, but they're standalone on their own. It's gonna be more like, think more about like Star Wars franchise than the MCU.
Okay.
The good parts of it is like they're all independent projects to themselves, but they're part of the same universe.
If that's the approach, then Godspeed and hope the best for this approach.
It's not gonna be like where every movie connects to every movie. It's just gonna be some small threads that continue, but the movies themselves will be isolated.
I could see NetherRealm being a really good fit for this because I
think NetherRealm is their answer to Marvel Rivals. Because James Gunn did mention Marvel Rivals, and he would like to have a DC version of it.
But NetherRealm never made a third-person shooter. They known for fighting games.
It's true, but I'm sure they can they could take some interesting directions.
You know people are gonna say the same thing that they said about we'll have Rocksteady make a live service, Justice League. Justice.
It's not that far fetched though.
I personally think this is okay. I disagree. I think I could definitely see them kind of taking what they did with because a lot of same people worked that in NetherRealm. I think still worked on something like Shaolin Monks back in the day, which was like this like beat 'em up. I could see them doing like a beat 'em up, like a 3D beat 'em up with like DC characters, but kind of doing a Marvel Rivals thing. The main reason why Marvel Rivals even worked as well as it did is NetEase had that relationship with Blizzard for Overwatch and all these other, and they have experience with live service games like that, Naraka Blade Point, all this other stuff. They have experience in this type of thing. That's why Marvel Rivals was one of the reasons it was a success, because this wasn't their first rodeo with a live service game like that. With NetherRealm, their lane is 2D, 2.5D fighting games. I would be very concerned if in like a year from now I see DC Rumble or something, and it's literally just a Marvel Rivals clone with NetherRealm being just stuck on that project for the rest of their existence, because you got to have people work on a project, and Warner Brothers they don't have, unless you basically dump support content over to WB Montreal, which is literally kicking tires right now trying to get a project greenlit. So, I mean, you're right.
I don't think it's that dire though. I think fighting game to 3D fighting game isn't that drastic as live service to single player.
I don't know, man. If
And
that,
I'd be honest, they're not really the best fighting studio anyway. I'm pretty sure Mortal Kombat's kind of a disappointment at the moment.
I think it's mainly the story stuff that was kind of for a lot of people. But I guess I honestly, if you're gonna have
I mean,
go
I
ahead.
think they need to go somewhere new because they've been just doing the same thing over and over.
What I was probably thinking they're doing is they're probably working on an Injustice 3 because that was part of the video leak. And I think,
yeah, I imagine Injustice 3 is next, and then this rivals competitors after.
I just hope that if NetherRealm has a lot of history, I just hope that they don't get shuttered because they can't do a live service game. That's just my concern with NetherRealm basically being, we'll just tell them to make a live service game for us. What's the worst that could happen?
I wouldn't be shocked if they absorb some talent from, was it Player One?
I could see that because that is fighting game talent.
Yeah.
What do you think? When do you think we'll see anything about Rocksteady's game? Probably not for a long while.
No, not for a long while. What if it's DCU? That means it's not an Arkham game.
It could be an Arkham game, but with DCU Batman.
Doesn't. I mean, kind of, yeah, but DC Arkham has this like own story.
I meant in terms of like gameplay and stuff.
Gameplay, yeah, but I'm talking about the world of Arkham and the events that happened there.
Okay, I guess I should rephrase my comment then. I think we'll probably get like similar gameplay and like.
Yeah, gameplay that's obviously like a third-person open world game, but I mean, as the world of Arkham and the story.
I don't know if we'll get that again, but I don't
think so either.
If Rocksteady wants a surefire win, make a Batman.
I think going back to Arkham is kind of hard when you have the actor dead. So starting new with the DCU kind of makes sense.
Yeah, especially since you have Robert Pattinson Batman you could work with.
Yeah. I mean, Robert Pattinson won't be the Batman of the DCU, so.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a new Batman.
Oh, okay, so they might just have the actor premiere with this new game then, assuming a movie doesn't come out first.
The movie is kind of years away, so could come at the same time.
Yeah. That'll be good correlation. Something they've been a lot of these companies are trying to do. Synergy.
Influential Dishonored Half-Life 2 artist Viktor Antonov has died.
Rest in peace.
Yeah, he's worked on some influential games.
It's awful to hear stuff like that happening. Yeah.
Now, some Sony rumors to discuss. Sony's debating whether to have a PS showcase this summer or a state of play, but is leaning towards a showcase.
A showcase is when they have like the bigger announcements.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense since I think they have a lot in the oven right now that they're just kind of thinking of the right time to kind of reveal a lot of it.
Yeah. Makes sense. I'm sure you'll get a Wolverine update too.
Especially if I think we're due for.
Let's just think about 2026 for a sec.
Yeah.
We have Wolverine, Intergalactic, and then another game we'll talk about later in the show that was just announced. Mm-hmm. That's 3 single players on their own, and I would imagine fair games as well.
Yeah.
That's 4 first-party titles.
And that's not probably counting something with Team Asobi and Astrobot.
You think next year Asobi would do something?
They have 2 years. They already have kind of the base done with Astrobot 1. They're working
I don't know. I see the next Astrobot PS6 launch game.
That could be the next Ratchet, though, but then again...
Ratchet was supposed to be like the first year or second year of PS6, I think. The Spider-Man 3 is next.
That's true. Yeah, you're right.
And then there's Venom, if that's still happening.
Do you think Venom is still happening at this point?
I think so. I just think it's after Wolverine, before Spider-Man 3. But if they were to canon, I'd imagine they just add that content to Spider-Man 3 and make it a bigger game.
I think it's probably the better option, to be honest.
I don't know, because that kind of blows the budget and you need more expectations. Whereas if you can sell Venom as own product, get additional profit, separate profit.
They probably want more money too, to be honest.
Because Miles sold really well for being a pretty cheaply made game.
Yep. So they probably thinking like we can make a lot of money just by making this its own thing.
Yeah.
But speaking of games coming to PlayStation, we have Indiana Jones, and that's set to come out in April, according to insiders. And yeah, that's spring.
Makes sense. Isn't
It's
Doom coming in April,
spring?
or is that May?
Let me double check. Okay, can't read the article because
it's a paid article.
All right, well, it's either April or May.
No, Doom is May. I stand corrected.
Okay.
What about South of Midnight? When was that slated?
April. South of Midnight and Expedition is April.
Okay, I see. Oh yeah, Xbox got a lot of releases this spring.
We also, in April, we have Indiana Jones and we have Forza Horizon 5 for PlayStation 5 people. And Forza Horizon 5 is selling incredibly well on PSN right now.
I've seen, it's crazy.
And that is the early access version of the game that's multiple years old at this point. So that is crazy.
Other news, Call of Duty not sure if to launch on the last gen or not.
So for this year?
I think it's for 2026.
For the 2026 game, this is around time.
Supporting 2025. My bad. 2025, they're still considering last gen.
I mean, a lot of developers still are. A lot of them still are. So I mean, I get it. The only reason
the rumor of Call of Duty 26 launched using the dev kits for the next Xbox.
Well, it makes sense. It's Microsoft owns stuff, so they probably like, hey, you get an early access to this, man. Here you go. Make sure it works.
But if they have the dev kits, it means they might launch the console in 26.
That would make a lot of sense, because I think that's going to be the last proper console from Xbox, and after that we'll just get, like, as I mentioned earlier in the this episode, like PCs of Xbox.
I don't really see them launching it in 2026 yet. I think that might have been a plan at some point, but I think plans have changed. I think that would have happened before they went full PlayStation.
Well, I think the thing is, there probably would be like, if you get it on this new, this is not my voice. If you get it on this new Xbox, you get it at 144 frames per second.
I don't think so.
6K.
That's not true.
AI generated co-op partner that works with you.
That console is going to cost like $2,000 for that. It's not happening.
It will also cure cancer, and to add icing to the cake, it'll bake a cake for you. Okay, I'm being really stupid, but the point I'm getting at is they'll have some advantages. For sure.
I don't think it's worth it though, because say Sony goes in 2 years later, 2028 has better hardware. You're going to create a power differential you don't need.
I mean, we'll see what they do, man. But like, I think the thing with Xbox is that the goal is to have a portable SKU and a box SKU. And what's with that face? You look like no, not making a handheld. You don't think they're making one?
I I think they'll make one. I'm just not sure what to really go with it.
Well, they probably are seeing like the ROG Ally and the Steam Deck and the Lenovo Legion Go, and they're probably kind of thinking of somewhere around that ballpark, but trying to find a way to make it like cost effective. Maybe. I don't know. I guess we will see. But something we already know about. So I couldn't think of a witty transition. I apologize. So
Monster
we got
Hunter.
yes, the Hunter of Monsters. It did insanely well. 8 million copies sold, and then the Steam player numbers insane. 1.3 million people in not even 24 hours on PC alone.
Yeah.
Imagine the numbers on PlayStation and Xbox. That is insane. As someone who did some coverage on Monster Hunter, it's really nice to see that the game did so well. It's just kind of a shame that doesn't seem to run particularly great. But hopefully that gets resolved over time.
Yeah. Well, speaking of teams, we got ABK's new team in Poland we have some bit info about their new IP.
Let's see.
Xbox Activision's Elsewhere Entertainment Studio based in Poland are working on a new IP that is an open world narrative game with single player and multiplayer modes developed on a brand new engine.
A new engine. But it's an in-house one then, for sure. That's cool.
Yeah. So we know we know it has a single player element and a multiplayer element, and it's a narrative game. It's quite interesting where this will go.
Do you think it's Activision's answer to The Witcher?
I don't think so, no.
I guess we'll see what they do.
Yeah. Then Twist Metal, the game, was originally a battle royale.
Not a surprise,
On Unreal Engine 5.
That part is interesting because most PlayStation first-party games use their own engine.
And Conquer is on Unreal Engine 2.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think
you got to be safer with the multiplayer games. With single player, you can do your in-house engines.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about something interesting. Rockstar has acquired a new studio.
And to my understanding, that's the studio that did that cleaned up the remaster effort for.
Yeah, they're also a developer, the original developers of LA Noire.
Oh.
Well, they were a part of the team that made it, and they formed this new studio called Video Game Deluxe.
Nice. It's good to see.
Yeah, they're like best friends with Rockstar, like close with Rockstar, so it makes sense.
Yeah, that's good. It's always good to see
They're still working on patches for the remasters, by the way.
Makes sense. It was a bad launch, to put it lightly.
It's pretty good now, but they got more plans to patch it.
That's good to see the support.
And they're renaming them to Rockstar Australia.
They're going down under, mate. Sorry.
No, Rockstar India would be under.
Oh.
That's the thing. You would be amazed how many Rockstar studios there are. There's like 10 or 12.
I tried being funny and I failed again. I am sorry, everyone.
Yeah. But yeah, this is a good acquisition for Rockstar. I imagine this will be essentially the remaster team.
Especially since they have a lot of games that could get that treatment.
GTA 4 is probably next.
I would imagine. I would guess Red Dead 2 maybe as well, since it wouldn't take too much effort to kind of update that for the newer console.
Nah, I feel like Rockstar would update that themselves. They would do a whole next-gen edition.
Do you think they'll kind of go back to games like Bully, The Warriors?
No.
Anyway, we'll discuss Call of Duty.
Move on from Bully, bro. It's over.
No. Anyway, that's cool.
It's like their least interesting IP.
Anyway.
Let's talk about Call of Duty.
Yes, let's talk about the Call of Duty.
Modern Warfare 2026.
Yes.
No old-gen support. Traditional UI. Being developed on dev kits for the next Xbox. No Warzone 3 if Warzone 2 fails to retain players.
That makes sense, because why would you make another Warzone if the newest one isn't really hidden?
Yeah. Warzone has kind of fallen off, which was kind of one of their main money pits.
At least the main Call of Duty games seemingly, well, not seemingly, we know they're very successful. So again, there.
With Game Pass, this is basically free to play.
Yep, basically.
Another unfortunate studio closure. Ballistic Moon shuts down.
They're the developers of the Until Dawn remake,
which was kind of buggy, I heard.
Yeah, it did not run particularly great.
And Sony didn't market it at all.
No.
Kind of sucks for them, because I thought they would be heading Until Dawn 2. I think that's going to be not Fire Sprite. Yeah, I think they're heading that now.
Yeah, Fire Sprite is very different than Firewalk, which does not exist anymore.
Because Fire Sprite has been rumoredly working on a horror game for a while.
So that might be Until Dawn 2. We don't know.
Yeah.
Sony is making a movie, so even if the studio is
because the Until Dawn remake hinted at a second game.
Yeah, so maybe that was maybe that's what Fire Sprite's working on. We don't know.
Then let's talk about Marvel 1943 Rise of Hydra release window.
So what is
they're aiming for December.
This year?
Yes. The Black Panther voice actor said, "We're planning on 2025. I think we're thinking like a Christmas situation, but I'm so excited."
I mean, I'm glad to hear that the voice actor is excited, but I'm guessing I'm skeptical, but I'll probably be proven wrong if they do another reveal at like a PlayStation showcase, or
they're gonna have to show gameplay, so there will be a reveal at some point.
Yeah, if it's set to come out this fall, they gotta show something by June.
Technically, it's winter.
Yes, winter. Thank you for the correction, good sir.
Let's talk about the Shu interview on Sacred Symbols Plus.
Yes. Shout out to Colin for getting such a great scoop.
Yeah. I have some details, or some rough, interesting details, where we heard Concord was first signed by Shu. Interesting, yeah?
Yes. Yeah, I guess I can't put all the blame on
perhaps Herman was overhated.
Horizon is still being shilled everywhere. Anyway, continue.
Horizon is good though. If you finished it, you'd know.
Yeah, I would know, but I don't. Anyway, continue.
Helldivers 2 was going to be a launch game for the PS5.
That is interesting.
That makes a lot of sense, though. That would have been a massive hit.
What probably ended up happening...
It would probably meant no PC, though.
What probably happened was they looked at that game and go, you know what? Let's delay it until it's ready, until it's really cooked.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's a great game. And Shu mentions that what happened with him being tasked with helping the indie initiative for PlayStation, it wasn't a demotion. He called it just a new position.
He was created especially for him.
Yep, and that the indie initiative is super important. You need that on You need that on all platforms. And it's not even just indies. Like, through his connections, resulted in a lot of the China project that's going on right now. What's going on with Shift Up and Celeblade being a console exclusive on PlayStation. Black Myth being like a pseudo exclusive on PlayStation. A lot of his work has resulted in some of those efforts happening.
Yeah. And then he also says Jim wasn't as bad as people made him out to be. He was the last of guard. And he wanted to part of the next gen of Sony. Makes sense when you think about it. He was kind of fostering the next generation of executives.
Yeah.
During COVID, there was a huge push from investors being interested in live service, and Sony HQ mostly talked to Jim about trying this path. Which kind of makes sense what happened. There was a push from up high.
And then the idea wasn't to stop making single-player games, but to make live service stuff with additionally. And
yeah. Good idea. Rough execution is all I'd say.
Yeah, that's the reality of it, what happened.
Shu's money budget for first party at the time was more limited than what we have, say, during the PS4. And that's why they kind of gave up on multiplayer first person games.
Yeah, because that definitely stopped during the PS4 generation.
It stopped late PS3, I'd argue.
Yeah, I guess after like stuff like Mag did not do well at all, and Resistance, as you remind me, did not sell well.
As games increased in investment, PC became more of an option. Make sense?
Yep, yes, it does.
Shu praises Herman's PlayStation adaptations and how he had no interest in it and thought it was impossible for Hollywood to make a good adaptation.
They did a great job with Gran Turismo, man. That was a movie.
That was good, for sure. The Last of Us Season 2 is about to release. Shu thought about that a new perspective entering the first party lineup could change things for the better, which is true. He's still good friends with Jim Ryan and actually appreciates stepping away from first party.
I imagine it probably was overwhelming for him to kind of manage those teams.
Oh, yeah. China is one of the biggest PC gaming markets, but a tiny console market, and that is the main reason for the PC push, because of China.
That was definitely interesting to hear.
Yeah, definitely is. See, Western PC gamers don't matter. Did you hear the most of It Takes Two sales, which is like 20 million sales, were like 50% on PC in China?
Damn.
Shu talks about closing Japan soon and how the devs went on to create independent teams and create games that wouldn't have been greenlit, but they still came to PlayStation when they went on their own. So in the end, it was a W, he says. How do you feel about that?
I'm glad we got Astrobot.
You're saying a lot of these developers went on to create their own independent teams, and they were still able to release games that wouldn't be able to be greenlit.
I mean, that is true. Like we got, for example, Slit Ahead was from former Studio Japan developers. Obviously, the remnants with Team Asobi and Astrobot.
Yeah. So the studio closed because the market for AA games disappeared. And PlayStation was looking for AAA.
And the AA market is kind of back now, in a way. So
I don't know. You don't really have that many AA games anymore. PS4, you had them way more.
That's true. Budgets were a lot easier to manage back then.
Good look at Hellblade, I imagine it's way more expensive, the second one than the first one.
I mean, just look at the jump.
Yep. And he also said Japan, I read that, he said, during my time, people gave me credit, but the one thing that was not successful was having a successful service game or have successful Japan games. It's kind of interesting. Everybody praises him for the unique Japanese flavor, but he kind of claims that he didn't really have those successful ones.
And he also adds, other than Gran Turismo, we had many great products, but didn't really have many AAA level successful products. That became more and more important as the big games became bigger. The indies filled the gap, and the AA market seems to have disappeared.
Yep. And then most of the IPs Japan Studio had were in the smaller AA size group, and the market became really difficult for this kind of games. For example, Gravity Rush 2 tried to come up with a new concept, but were not able to realize any of these new concepts, even though they were really interesting.
That's a shame.
Then Andrew House started the globalization of SIE, and Jim saw it through.
Oh, and this one is interesting. The next part, I didn't listen to this far in the interview, but I remember about hearing about Prophecy. We saw the whole gameplay, like the gameplay that came out. I remember, and that looks really cool.
Yeah. Yeah, basically, they had a cool idea, but they had no idea where to take the idea.
And Sucker Punch themselves said they wanted cancellation,
Yeah.
but didn't really know what to really do with the idea, and asked.
Funny little joke he said was, they asked if a Western team could make a Japanese game. And he said, why not? The market share of Japan is so tiny.
And they also mentioned Santa Monica's cancellation of that.
Hey, I got a call. Can you take this for a minute?
Of course. And to kind of continue, Santa Monica Studios, they originally were making a new IP before they transitioned to making the PS4 God of War title, and that was canceled, very similar to Sucker Punch's pitch, where they're like they struggled, and there was the infamous comment that people said, oh, Shu hated God of War 2018. Like, no, he didn't hate it. He just thought that they wouldn't be able to finish it in its current state. And I didn't listen to the full interview. I've seen a lot of the information that's come out from the interview, and just listening to him talk with Colin and other people. He's such a cool guy, and it's really nice to see that now that PlayStation he's not really connected with PlayStation anymore. He can just really talk about his many years of experience with the company, because he's done so much, and he still wants to be part of the gaming industry. So there's a genuine future where Shu could work with another company down the line if you really wanted to.
Did you cover all the Shu talking points?
Yes.
All right. Let's talk about the state of play.
Oh, yes.
So we have Days Gone Remastered.
Oh yes, remastered. Days Gone Remastered, and we'll get Days Gone Remake Remastered in 2027. It's gonna be good. All jokes aside, how they're approaching the remaster is really interesting, because they're adding it's very similar to the Last of Us 2 remaster that came out, where they added cut content and additional levels people can play if they wanted to, and a whole new mode. And and that's kind of the case with Days Gone Remastered, where they're adding new modes, they're adding some of the visual enhancements that they did with the PC port of Days Gone, and it also said it's have full support of the PS5 Pro and VRR support, and for PC players, the content, since that PC version is already great as is going to be a DLC. So that's really cool to do for PC owners. That's a nice touch, and I can see as more potential remastered projects for PS5, like God of War 2018 remastered, or Horizon Forbidden West remaster, and Lego Horizon remaster, and all these other remasters. That could be a way to kind of have a nice middle ground between PC and PlayStation people. But unfortunately, if you got Days Gone through PlayStation Plus, like myself, you're not applicable for the $10 upgrade, which is understandable. You just they want you to buy the thing.
It was fair. You didn't buy the game. You don't get the free remaster.
Yeah, and honestly, you get 60 frames anyway, regardless if you get the remastered edition or not. So if it's your call if you want to get the additional content bits and upgrades.
All right. Speaking of
Oh,
games, Shinobi Art of Vengeance was announced. I'm sure you'll take this one, Ryan.
yes. Shout out to Lord Cognito, Ninja Master himself. This is really cool. Hand-drawn ninja adventure. Like looks like a lot like a Metroidvania in places. It looks beautiful. And Sega's back, baby. Sega's back. And following Shinobi is I noticed it was I noticed how you did include it in the write up. I thought I see it. Sonic Racing Crossroads new trailer is rad. Or is I hate you. Anyway, Sega also announced showed a proper gameplay reveal for Sonic Racing Crossroads. And they also announced, there's a public network, there's a closed network test we're gonna have in a little while, and I was part of it, and I really enjoyed my time with it. I didn't get a chance to do a write up on it, but the impressions are mostly positive. With the only negative being it's way too damn chaotic, but they can always adjust balance and everything when it's closer to release. But let's go talk about the absolute highlight of the state of play, Tides of Annihilation. This speaks to me, bro. I love
Starblade crossed with Elden Ring.
It's not no. Get Elden Ring out of here. Get Elden Ring out. No. This ain't a Souls like. What this is a good return to the character action games, Devil May Cry, and all those beautiful character action games. Respectfully, our audience, if you like Souls games, I'm glad you love them, appreciate them, everything. I am so glad we're seeing more traditional action games that don't play like Souls games. I'm so happy to see that. And
Speaking of, Tides of Annihilation was released on Xbox and then it wasn't.
oh yeah, that was a funny mistake. So basically, it's to finish my point. Tides of Annihilation is a beautiful looking action game, and it's multi-platform. This surprises myself and many others. We thought it was another Stellar Blade situation, but no, it's coming out on everything. But the problem is they accidentally released it a bit too early, even though it was just a store listing. So that was a funny little quirk that happened. But something that isn't funny and something that's actually just objectively really cool looking is Split Fiction.
It was pretty funny though.
It is pretty funny though. And I was trying to do a transition, but I failed as usual. Anyway, they had a new trailer showing off some of the really cool inventive gameplay they had on offer. As when this goes live, the game's been out for a little bit, and it looks really damn good. But I pass this off to you, Lord Rockstar, because yes,
I will be playing Split Fiction tonight, hopefully, but
nice.
I look forward to giving my opinions next month. But it looks really good. Joseph Fares seems to deliver another hit. Bro, just can't stop winning.
He can't stop.
And then let's talk about my game of the show. Mindseye gets a release window and new trailers.
It looks really good.
Oh yeah. And it's set in Arizona in a place called Red Rock. You can just tell with the quality here that this is former Rockstar talent.
I looked at it looks a lot like GTA, and that's a positive.
It looks excellent. And then The gameplay looks pretty interesting. You will be able to control flying vehicles as well.
Ooh.
And I think you'll like because it's making a pretty interesting commentary about AI and what happens when cities become automated.
Okay, the premise sounds really cool. All right, let's go.
Yeah.
And
we'll see it this summer, so that's the excellent part of it.
Yes, so that's awesome. But another awesome thing is, well, it looks awesome, but we don't really see any gameplay. Anyway, Saros, the next game from Housemarque, was revealed in a teaser trailer that even though we do not see gameplay, it is basically Returnal 2. Let's just call it for what it is. It looks
they're going to make it a bit more accessible, apparently.
I hope so, because I played Returnal. I died too many times. Like, I'm good. I really like Resurgence, so I really like to get into one of their games again.
Skill issue.
Shut up. Anyway,
I didn't finish Returnal either, so.
Oh, so we both have a skill issue. Then why are you calling? Okay, I'll stop being messy. But we have
Rise of P prequel DLC is announced to arrive this summer as well.
Shout out to Mr. Maddie who says this game is really damn good. No other comments other than that. I don't care for Souls games.
All right. Metal Gear Remake is announced on August.
Yes, with the glorious return of the Ape Escape monkeys running around in the Snake versus Ape mode. That was in the original PS2 Subsistence release. Ape Escape in 2025, baby. Let's go. But
okay, nostalgia, man.
Shut up. I'm sorry I keep saying I know I've said that twice. I apologize. But it's just really cool seeing. And an interesting part is that that content's also coming to the PC version. I didn't expect that. I thought it would just be PS5 exclusive, but it's not.
No, just Xbox players get shafted.
Well, the thing is, Xbox players instead of Ape Escape monkeys, they get Bomberman.
I have no idea who that is.
Are you messing with me?
Yeah.
Okay. I was gonna say you don't know who Bomberman is. Oh, okay.
I got you though.
You got me for I thought like oh not again. But we got Hell is Us release date confirmed at State of Play.
September, I believe.
Looks cool. You'll probably really like this. It looks a little bit like Death Stranding.
It does, but kind of different.
Would you be interested in Borderlands 4 with its release date being announced at the State of Play, and the next major update being at a State of Play for the game? Let me just get the release date so we can our audience knows when this thing's coming out.
September
23rd. And context is pretty important here, everybody, because guess what? The publisher of Borderlands is Take-Two, and Take-Two owns Rockstar, or they're part of the same umbrella, whatever, either or. So if anyone knows when GTA 6 is dropping, it's them. So
I have heard that it was moved up.
Borderlands?
Yes. It was originally might have been later.
Well, now we know. Well, guess what? We probably have October release for GTA locked in now.
Yeah, and we discussion. Are we ready? Let's talk with Directive 8020 from Supermassive Games launches October 2nd.
It's part of the Dark Pictures franchise, and it looks more action-based. That's what I kind of picked up from the trailer. What do you think?
Yeah. Looks pretty cool. I don't know. I'm not sure if I believe it's going to be more action. Maybe a bit of action, but
Hmm.
Supermassive isn't really an action studio.
I've never really done that before.
Let's talk about a multiplayer game, Splitgate 2, which was
Halo with portals.
yes. It looks like they have a closed alpha soon, so we'll be enjoying to see that.
And another highlight of the show for me, Lost Soul Aside, gets a release date, and this is coming out on PlayStation 5 and PC on May 30th. And a lot of Final Fantasy 15 vibes. It sounds awesome. Combat looks sick. Day one for me, man. I can't wait to play this. I've been following the development of this game for 10 years, since it was like a small thing that like this one guy was trying to get out on PS4. But man, it's amazing seeing how far this project has come along.
Yeah, I'm sure you're happy with that one.
Mm-hmm.
So Armored Core coming to PS1 Classics.
Yep, the first 3 Armored Core games coming to the PlayStation Premium Classics lineup, and
Does
that's
this
pretty
strike
cool.
your nostalgia boner?
Well, I never played Armored Core before, so this would be
I
brand new to me.
see. Well, let's talk about Pixel Junk.
Yeah, these are cool people. Like they made like a lot of fun little like small projects back on the PS3. Haven't really followed like their ventures outside of that, but this trailer looks really cool. Like you're literally shooting things to kind of create a world. That's a really interesting mechanic, and I'm
Oh
kind
yeah.
of curious to see how that kind of develops to a full game.
I have no history with the Pixel Junk people, so I'm curious. I'm not really interested. What didn't look impressive to me was Onimusha.
Oh yeah, it looks cool. I like
Yeah.
what I saw of that.
I like the destructible environments.
I love the
Kind of like
fact you can use the environments as like a shield. You can
yeah,
kind of
yeah, yeah. So
that's cool, man.
that look cool. It doesn't look like a Souls like. It looks more action.
Because that's what the original games are like.
Yep. Oh, we already covered this. We talked about this earlier, but Bobby Kotick says that he's. I don't know what Bobby Kotick says. He was so bad he would have paid him to kept him in charge. It's crazy. And then Crysis 4 is on hold, and the director has left. Crytek says it's laying off 15% of his staff.
Damn shame.
Kind of crazy because Crytek got so much good PR with Kingdom Come Deliverance too.
Yeah, because they have a good engine. Like
Yeah, more people should use it honestly because it's such a beautiful game.
it's somehow because they had to. They got like one. They got to build a Crytek running on the Wii U for the Sonic Boom game. How the heck that
I know
happened?
you made me hate Crytek because they made Sonic games.
But they also made Rise, Son of Rome, and it would be really cool to, if they need a stopgap to kind of help get some funds to kind of keep, to kind of get Crisis 4 back, you know, as they kind of figure out what they want to do with Crisis 4, maybe a Rise, Son of Rome remaster, that would be really cool.
Then, with our final story today,
Yes.
Koei Tecmo CEO standing down more than 45 years after
Wow.
founding.
That's news to me, man. Damn.
It's crazy, 45 years.
Koei Tecmo is like one of the unsung like publishers out there. They've had their hands on a lot of support work from a lot of people. Atlas, Sega, Nintendo, and that's not even counting their own original efforts. Like they're a really good publisher. So the fact that they hung around and stood alongside Sega, Capcom, and Konami over the years, God bless them.
Oh, yeah. And then one thing we didn't miss from the state of play was Midnight Walk.
Hmm.
The Clay game.
the you said claymation, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that looked really interesting.
Yeah, and it's coming soon, I think. May.
May's going to be a busy month.
Wait, Self of Midnight is in April, right?
South of Midnight and Expedition 33 is April.
Ah, two claymation games close to each other.
Well, I want to say South of Midnight is it's heavily inspired by it, but it's not claymation. I think with Midnight Walk, that is a lot of it is handmade in claymation. I think from maybe I'm misunderstanding something, but it looks really
Perhaps. Well, that is our show.
yes.
We had a lot of news to cover.
And we covered we covered a lot of stuff in 2 hours, I think.
Oh yeah. Well, this was a fun one.
It was a lot of fun.
Got any words for the audience?
You know, always believe in yourself, because one day your favorite game will potentially be recompiled on PC. In all seriousness, though, thank you guys so much for listening to our podcast, and I apologize for the wait. It was on my end, but hopefully you still enjoy this episode, and stay tuned for more content from us in the future. And my good friend Seahawk, what do you have to say for our audience?
We're happy to be here and looking forward to talk about Assassin's Creed next month.
I know you got that's just like how you really spit your balls on Kingdom Come. I can't wait to see what, or rather hear. Yeah, I can't talk. You know what I mean. I can't wait to hear your opinions on Assassin's Creed, because you're Lord Rockstar, but you can also be Lord Assassin as well if you want to.
I could. But I'm the Rockstar because I don't know all the good games.
You know what? Sonic is good too.
Let's agree to disagree on that one.
Well, this has been fun, everyone.
Yes. I made fun of Sonic once.
Yes.
Too little, to be honest.
We're trying to end on a good note, brother. Let's calm down there.
Well, that was awesome.